Welcome back to another episode of Bischel Ball. I'll say this. Let's kick it off with saying the vibes are really high in Bearcat country right now. Despite salvaging the series, the boys got a lot to play for at home this weekend, finishing out the year. Got a few exciting guests on here tonight. Joining me instead of Cole Harding is actually at the Reds game tonight, so he could not make it. But Zach Siegel is filling his spot. He's got some research for K-State. He's going to be up in the booth this weekend. And then we got players Carson Marsh and Nate Taylor, both some Cincinnati veteran guys coming on to join us. So, guys, thanks for coming on. How is everybody this evening?
We're good.
Ready to go, John. Ready to watch
really
these fellas throw some strikes.
Yeah. Let's go. All right. I'm glad we have all four Cincinnati veterans on here tonight, born and raised and then playing for the Bearcats. So I got some Cincinnati questions for us. The first one, probably one of my favorite of all time. I want to hear everybody's go-to Skyline chili order. See, right. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm a chili cheese fry guy and then 3 cheese conies. And if I'm feeling dangerous, you got to go York patty after.
Ooh.
The cheese fries. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone that goes consistent chili cheese fries.
Dude, I mean, you know me. I always got to get a little weird.
I was going to say, it is pretty on par. All right, what about you guys?
Nate?
Oh God, I'm going to catch some heat for this one. I've actually never tried their chili. I like every single time I go, I literally get noodles and cheese, so just like spaghetti and cheese, and then I get like 2 hot dogs with just cheese on the side.
Yeah. You know, that's crazy because that's what I ordered. That's what I ordered up until I was about 10 years old. But that's what I would get. I was scared.
Yeah, I just stuck with it all the way through. Yeah, and I also get cheese fries, no chili. So.
Man.
Yeah, I know.
You never tried it?
Never. I've just never. I don't know.
Are you scared of it?
It was so good at a young age. I just never even wanted to try it. I kind of just went with what I liked.
Gosh.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah. We got to get some of that. We got to get you to at least try it here sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to try it. It's just I haven't. Yeah, I just
haven't gotten to it.
Yeah.
All right, Carson, what about you?
I'm a 3 cheese conies, no mustard, no onion, a large cheese fry, and then Mountain Dew to wash it all down.
I was going to say until they changed to Coke products, obviously. Yep. I was going to say that was literally part of my order. Like, it was nothing parlays better with Skyline chili than a nice cold Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Shout out to
so
Coach
that was
Bischel.
Yeah, I know he's probably getting about 5 or 6 of them every time he goes in there. But no, that was a sad day when they announced that they were going over to Coke products. I know me and Sheila, we started talking about that we were going to have to bring our own dues to the Skyline. But
like you're sneaking food into a movie theater.
Yeah, like in your sweatshirt pocket or something. My go-to order has got to be always large 3-way for sure. I do go habanero cheese on the 3-way, which is I started doing that not recently, but past few years. Made the move over there, and then depending on how hungry I am, I'll go 2 or 3 conies, no mustard, no onion. So. When I go in there, I know I'm spending $20 and I'm getting ready to throw down for sure. All right, good stuff. Next question I got for you guys, obviously both being from Cincinnati. I know that me and Zach have talked about it. I've talked about it with Loudon and Corey, but what does it mean to you guys being from Cincinnati to be able to wear that Cincinnati across your chest and represent your city playing baseball?
Well, obviously we're from here, so being from Cincinnati, I mean, I grew up watching games, so it means a lot to be there and just play for your city, just play for the name on your chest, and it means more just being from here.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, like going to Cincinnati games, growing up around here, like just knowing the environment, knowing the people in the community, and getting to play for them, and like having that grit. Like I think a lot of Northwest guys, Midwest guys, don't get outside a lot. A lot of people call us like facility babies, but like that's kind of gritty. Like we're inside when snowing. Guys down south are outside playing baseball. Like I think it's just like we have this grit about us, which I think it's very cool to like show that to the city and like play for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say too, it's kind of like a lot of us. Well, I feel like Cincinnati's kind of a place where people don't leave very much. Like a lot of families just stay in Cincinnati for generations. So I don't know if you guys could relate, but like when growing up with my dad being a baseball fan, like I grew up with him talking to me and showing me games of like when Pete Rose played, and then even in the 90s with like the Nasty Boys and those championship Reds teams too kind of always had guys that had a little bit of shit to them. And it just kind of seemed like there was a little more pride wearing the Cincinnati. Now both of you guys, going off of that, definitely kind of it pops out when you watch both of you guys pitch. You guys both play and with a little bit of fire and show a little bit of an emotion out there. Where do you guys think that kind of stems from?
Yeah, it's just the competitive side of like any pitcher. It's just some people don't show it and some do. But yeah, it gets the team going for sure after some of that stuff. Like it gets the dugout fired up. I mean, you guys have seen us at games. Like that stuff just makes it like the energy just picks up way more after something like that and showing emotion. And yeah, it just picks up the whole team.
It gets me fired up when I'm sitting on my couch. That's for sure. When I see one of you guys, I start standing up and get fired up.
Gets me fired up in the booth. I have to act all impartial up here, but inside I'm like,
yeah.
What about you, Marsh?
I mean, this year to last year, last year I was like reliever role the whole year. This year kind of been like starter and reliever. I'd say for me, like the energy kind of mostly comes from like being like a reliever. Like you get put in that high pressure situation, you get out of it. Like it's just so like it's like nerve wracking, but not nerve wracking. It's like, oh my gosh, like I get to be in this situation, I can get out of it, and like okay, like I'm better than these guys. I'm gonna go in there and shut these guys down and fire my team up, and we're gonna go out and put another 5 on you, and game's over at pretty much that point.
Now,
Carson, that kind of
go ahead.
Yeah, Carson, that leads into something I had highlighted, dude. I mean, being a starter and a reliever in the same season, that's not easy. How do you go about, preparing differently and knowing not when you're going to bounce back and forth? I mean, how have you managed that?
It's been different. I mean, I've talked to Coach Sheriff a lot. Like, obviously, compared to last year, this year hasn't gone like my way necessarily. But that's not. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, like you're still making pitches. Like, you just had a little bit of bad luck, misfortune. Like, you can't go out there and be not confident. But preparing wise, like I've never been a starter. In high school, I was a reliever. Travel ball, I ended up like I started some games, but like I'd still do my reliever routine. So like kind of this year's kind of like finding that starter routine. So I think my first start was Arizona State, and I still treated it like a bullpen game. I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna come out, throw my hitters, whatnot. And then I think it was West Virginia was the first time like I really did like a starting routine, like got out an hour before, did all my pre-throw, like did all that, long toss a little bit before and threw a short box, and then a bullpen and went to that game. So kind of like I say the difference is like, I mean, it's just I take a lot more time. Like relieving, I don't take as much time. Starting, I have plenty of time, more than I need.
Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting. I asked Brian Curley from Georgia about that because he had kind of been doing the same thing this year. They had him out of the pen and then started to put him out there to start games. And I kind of asked him about his preparation, and he's an interesting dude. He's out there, but he said to me, someone told him this and he stands firmly by it. All you need is 8 pitches to be ready to go into the game. He said all he needs is to just pull down 8 pitches and he's ready to go. After like I think he long tosses, but he said 8 pitches on the mound and that's it, whether he's relieving or starting.
That's crazy.
So I'm curious, what are your guys' opinions on that as all three of you being pitchers? Is that insane?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
at
dude.
least, yeah. At least for me, like that's insane. I long toss. I'll do a full like 20-25 pitch bullpen, and then I'll work like 1 or 2 hitters, like one both sides, and then I'm also using the 8 when I get out there before the inning starts. So I definitely do way more throwing than that.
Now,
I get
Carson,
that advice. I get it. Like, as a reliever, sometimes, especially if you've started before and then you go into the pen, you might try to, like, throw too many pitches in the pen. It's like, dude, if you can't figure it out in those 8 you get out there, you're probably not going to.
that was kind of his thing. Is like, hey, if you're not ready to go after 8, like you just don't have it today.
Yeah.
And, like you got to go out there anyway. So you may as well not get all domed up about it and throw 20 bad pitches and just go out there and let it rip.
That guy's a psycho. I love it.
Yeah. But Carson, how has it been for you, like mentally, when you know you're trying to go 3 to 4 innings opposed to last year and kind of your whole career, as you mentioned, being comfortable getting through like that 1 or 2 innings and being done?
Mentally, I think the biggest thing for me is like if I
controlling that emotion a little bit,
controlling that emotion, and then say I give up a run when I'm relieving, like that irritates the hell out of me. Like, you're only in there an inning to possibly 3. You give up a run, it's like, okay, like that's not a great day. Like, I gave up a run. Starting, if you're going 3, 4, you give up a run, you're still giving your team a shot to win. Like, you come in, you give your guys 3 innings, then you give up only run. Like, the odds we're probably scoring 1 is very high. So I think that's probably like the biggest mental adjustment. It's like okay, I gave up 1, like I still need to go out there and make pitches. Like, I can't get so frustrated. I'm not going to go out there and make pitches.
Well, you're a guy too who usually the whole time you've been at UC has been thrown into those high leverage spots too, where like if you're giving up a run last year, it's usually a pretty big run, right? Like it's not like you're going out there in the 2nd inning and you give up 1 run and it's 1-0.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask, I've never been in the situation that you guys are in now. We were kind of, no matter where we were at, we had to win the tournament, especially being in the American to get into the big tournament. But you guys are in contention for an at-large bid in the regional right now. What are kind of the vibes like around the city, around the clubhouse, around your guys' team, being in the spot that you guys are in right now?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just have to take it one game at a time. I mean, you see all the things on Twitter and Instagram and all the projections and where they have everyone going, but it's kind of just focusing on one game at a time and not really focusing too much on the social media side of it and just worried about what you're doing and trusting the process and winning one game at a time.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much like, I mean, we've talked about, like, hey, this is all in front of us. We got everything to play for still. Like, one weekend's not going to kill us. We can still go to Arlington and go ahead. But, like, try to just stay focused on each other, be the same team we've been, like, the past 7 weeks. Like, reality, starting 1-5 in conference play probably didn't look too great. And then bouncing back, like, obviously we were in a pretty dang good spot right now. So kind of doing that. And then, like, online, I mean, you saw today, like, people tweeting out, like, get to the ballpark. Like, this is a huge weekend for us, obviously, and the program and the community around UC baseball.
Yeah,
totally.
$5 beers all day tomorrow. So guys need to get out there for sure. I mean, me and Harding's eyes light up when it's $5 for the hour before game time, but all game, I mean, he better be out there eating that up, and we need to pack the ball.
Oh, he will.
Yeah.
He will.
See,
Don't you worry.
You might have to sneak down for a couple of those.
I really might have to, especially if it's another, these 4-hour games that you guys keep putting me through.
Yeah. No shit.
Hey, so, looking at the record right now at this point in the year versus last year, it's super similar. At this point last year, you guys were 30-21. You're 29-22 right now. Why is this year different? Why does it feel different this year?
Yeah, I would just go our schedule. I mean, we've had a kind of a gauntlet of a schedule. I mean, we started off at Duke, and they definitely were kind of rough in the start. But, I mean, you guys can see they're picking it up now. They're back to the team they were. And even the schools like UNLV and UC San Diego, like those are still great schools that you're trying to compete with. So I think it's more the schedule side. I think we've had a way tougher road to get where we are now.
100%, because like that's kind of what I mean. It's like you guys, to me, it seems like you're playing way better this year, especially down the stretch. But I mean, like the record, you're still fighting for an at-large. It just speaks to the kind of the non-conference schedule this year. I'm also curious. Obviously, huge road trip you guys just came off of. What was different this road trip? Why it turned out so much better than that UNLV trip early in the year? Do you attribute that to something?
I think when we went to UNLV, after we lost the game, we had some injuries there, like some guys were out.
Yeah.
I think we still should have won those games. Obviously, we're not going to say, oh, guys were hurt, so we're not going to win games. That's not the case at all. I think once the trip got longer, you lose a game, you kind of get disheartened. You're like, oh gosh, we're still here. We still got to play. Lose a couple, then it's it starts to snowball. We couldn't stop that snowball effect. I think this past trip, obviously we started out really hot, sweep Kansas, that's huge. Go to ORU, beat them, and then it's Friday night, lose a pretty good game. Early, it was a pretty good game, and then kind of got away from us at the end. TCU, it's okay, we can compete with these guys. And lose walk-off fashion on Saturday. It's okay, we're still here. Made a couple mistakes, we can fix those. And then Sunday, beat them. It's okay, we really attacked this thing the right way, not letting it snowball, making the adjustments game to game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like the couple wins, especially Saturday's wins over Kansas, just kind of kick-started that road trip, opposed to where you're battling injuries and none of the series, no game did you guys play as well as you could have out there, where it was kind of, Zach, we've been on a couple of those road trips, a couple of those long road trips where it starts a little shaky and every day you wake up, it's all right, we'll break out of it. And then it's oh shit, boys, another 6-0 loss. Are we going to break
Spartanburg, out? South Carolina.
Yeah, there's nothing that haunts me more than that.
I was there for a month straight.
It felt like it. Yeah. So what were we talking about? Kansas. Shit, I forgot where I was going next. But what do you guys think you have to do these next few weeks, maybe mentality or execution wise, to kind of continue to play your best ball at the end of the year and make a run at this regional?
Yeah, I just think I think it's the one game at a time thing. Just playing each game, just going out there and playing like it's like a super regional game. It's a 3-game series. We're basically practicing for a super regional for all that stuff. It's the winner of the series. Kansas State's also a team that has regional chances. So I think it's just playing it like it's playoff baseball, playing it like it just means more.
Love it.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is the mentality. We've had a pretty dang good mentality these past couple weeks. We can't just shift our mentality and start to press if things don't go the right way. Hey, we're a pretty dang good baseball team. We can make a comeback if we need. Don't press that panic button. Just go to work.
Now I know TCU, obviously we didn't get the series win, but I feel like you guys have almost played better in every time where you guys are we'll get to that question in a second. I feel like you guys have played better almost when you're the underdog or people think you're overmatched. Why do you guys think that is?
Carson, you want that?
Maybe just a chip on our shoulder. We go in there and it's kind of a disrespect factor. Hey, these guys don't respect you at all. I think when we went to Texas Tech, I think Coach B said, hey, these guys don't respect you at all. They don't respect us. Last year, they beat us in the conference tournaments, beat us pretty bad, ended our season. And I think that's kind of like the mentality we go in with when like they kind of look down on us. It's like these guys don't respect you at all. Like play with the chip on your shoulder, like, and just go to work.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, we got a couple comments in here. First one from Chelsea. You really haven't tried Skyline chili. That is a real issue. I'm with her. Mellow Yellow's an alternative. Okay. I'm gonna have to try that out. I think I've just been going with water since they changed it, but I'll have to give Mellow Yellow a shot.
Nate, you really might have just tanked your Bearcat fan.
His Cincinnati stock.
As soon as I heard the question, I knew it wasn't gonna go well for me.
Right, props to you because you could have just lied, but you didn't. Props
to
you.
You did.
I wasn't gonna lie. Yeah.
All right, here's Casey coming in here to talk some shit. Hey Nate, huge fan of your stuff, man. Quick question: who's someone who rakes off you in practice? Whatever, dude. Not everyone can hit 500.
I was trying to think of someone other than Casey.
Not everyone can be the Big 12 Player of the Year.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But no, that leads me into another question. Nate, how cool is it that despite you guys being like fourth to sixth range in the Big 12, that I feel like you and Carrington both are kind of deserve to be in that Big 12 Pitcher of the Year and Player of the Year conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot. I mean, I give a bunch of credit to like the coach that calls the game, and Jack is a great defensive catcher, throwing people out in the defense behind me. But I mean, it means a lot. I mean, I'm obviously more focused on team stuff, but I mean, Carrington, for example, I mean, we can't go past what he's done. He's hitting 400, and I mean, it's one of the craziest years I think anyone's seen. I mean, it's kind of freakish, but I mean, definitely that stuff is really cool to look at.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
You're still in the chat. Congrats, dude. I remember when you were your redshirt year in live ABs, you came up to the plate. I was like, all right, auto K, 3 sliders, but look at you now, man.
If you would have told me in that first fall that I got to Cincinnati, now this was his sophomore year, but still, if you would have told me D1 baseball had him as the number 1 third baseman in the country in a few years, I would have told you you're crazy. But it's been awesome. What's T.O. talking about in here?
Oh God, the game against Canisius. I mean, obviously Canisius is a lesser opponent than us, but in that game,
hit a nuke off you.
It was a pretty good outing, but there was I've been catching heat for it since the game. There's a guy, their second baseman. His name was Trent Rumley, and it's just he hit a homer off me, and that was I've just been hearing it since, the whole team. Yeah.
All right, I think I got my clear answer to this next one. I think Landon Viderick might win all 3 categories.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Dude, that's what Siegel, do you remember when Viderick would get on the mound his freshman year?
For podcast
for
podcast form, you got to read the question so people know what you're talking about.
In each of all right, yeah, you're right. Thanks for the note there. In each of y'all's opinion, who's the fastest on the team, the best base stealer? Also, who would you say throws the hardest? I mean, Landon Viderick's got like 30 bags. He could fly. I think that's a no-brainer there.
Yeah.
And who throws the hardest? I know he can throw like almost 100 from the outfield. Do you remember when he would get on the mound freshman year? And he only had his slider and changeup were god awful, but he would get in there and he didn't know where his fastball was going all the time either, but he could get up there to 94, 95.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a freaky athlete. Like, he would get into his legs. It felt like he would be, like, literally sitting his ass on the mound, how well he used his legs. And one day would be 94 with life. The next day would be 90-mile-an-hour cutters. And he'd be like, I don't know why that's happening. It's like, dude, either way, pretty good.
Tommy O'Connor said stock righty. We'll just tell him, ask him how well he found the zone when he used to pitch.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I actually watched a few of
Tommy
those games.
O'Connor used to hear what we would say in the dugout, look over at us and laugh in the middle of an at bat. That guy was not locked in on the mound.
Still had one of the best sliders I've ever seen, though, when it was on. Again, didn't really know where it was going, but if he placed it right, it was disgusting.
Good for T.O., man. He's feeling confident tonight. He hit a homer in each of his last 3 games. He's feeling good. You gotta love it.
Let's pump those tires. Viderick has 37 stolen bases and said he throws 98 yesterday. Yeah, that clears. Tommy said wildly effective. It's at times it really was. It really was at times, but mostly just in like up 6, down 6 inner squads. But don't listen to that,
seriously.
Tommy. Keep raking, dude. Focus on only thing I want in your head this weekend is hit ball hard.
Yeah. Seriously.
All right,
JP, man, the pitchers here got you outnumbered. I got to ask these 2 pitchers, what's one thing that you've both taken from Coach Sheriff this year? Like whether it's a tweak or a grip or a mindset thing. I think pitchers always love to, young pitchers could always benefit from stuff like this.
Yeah, mine for sure, without a question, is probably the mental side of things. Last year, I mean, I don't know if you guys tracked all that, but last year I'd have one outing where I'd go like 6 innings and it's just like awesome. I feel great. And then there's one game where as soon as the first thing went bad for me, it would just it would snowball. Like it would just the outing would be over. If I didn't have my stuff that day, it was like I went out there with the mindset like I have nothing to beat them kind of thing. And I think he, from this off season in the summer, like the fall, all the time I've worked with him, he's just taught me to, like, no matter what I have that day, go out there and know that you're better than them. And even when you don't have your best stuff, just do what you can. I think that's led to so much more consistency this year from like how my performance has gone. Even the days where I don't have my best stuff, I'm still forcing myself to have that mindset to go out there and give it what I got.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, that's just the life of pitching at a high level. When it's a long season, like you're not going to have your stuff every day. And going from a high schooler where realistically in the Eastern Cincinnati Conference here in Cincinnati, you were probably shoving it up everybody's ass every week. So, to go out in college and sometimes you don't have your stuff, you got to learn how to pitch without it. So that's great.
Yeah.
What about you, Carson?
So I would say at Arizona this year, I was on the verge of like the yips, like legit 12 straight pitches, and then like 12 straight high and arm side misses, and then we went to an inter squad when we got back, and they're like, hey, like you're gonna throw, and he texted me like, hey, we're not having you go in there and just try to throw strikes, like we just need to get work in, like you're not there to just throw strikes, like whatever, and like the same thing happened, like arms high and arm side, high and arm side, high and arm side, and then Coach Bischel and him like started calling these like fastballs that are like, hey, like try to spike this off the plate, until like I literally like spiked the fastball off the plate, and then it's like, oh, I made that adjustment, and like kind of from that, him and Coach Bishop, like once they started calling fastballs, like where literally I was like trying to bounce it off the plate, like I started trying to take it as a joke, kind of start laughing, like, oh, this is silly, like I don't really do this often. I'd say like he said, hey, like when you're at your best, like you're out there having fun, like you're smiling, you're laughing, sticking your tongue out, chewing your gum, like hey, like you're at your best when you're having fun, like you gotta have fun, man, like you gotta stop pressing that panic button, stop pressing like things haven't gone your way this year necessarily. He's like, you're still a good pitcher, a very good pitcher, like you just gotta have fun, trust yourself, go out there with a ton of confidence.
Now,
That's
Carson,
awesome, dude.
can you tell the gum story to us? Because I remember asking somebody last year, I'm like, what the hell's that kid's deal out there? Like, he looks like he's freaking out there, like how hard he's chewing his gum. But I've heard it's something that kind of clicked for you to calm your nerves down a little bit. Can you tell that story real quick?
Yeah,
Must have a crazy jawline.
So I came in the fall and just like I didn't have a great fall, like it really wasn't great. Like I was like, okay, like try it. We'll come back from break, fix it. And actually, I had a conversation with Coach B like 3 weeks before the season last year, and it was like, hey, the plan right now is for us to redshirt you this year, and like you just like just get better over that time, like trust yourself. But things can change. Like we still have 3 weeks before the season starts. Like you can earn a role still. So then I talked to JR, who's actually now at Tennessee. He's one of the I think he's like he helps with pitching there. And I just said screw it. I was like, I'm not throwing well right now. I'm gonna try to mix it up entirely. Like, I'm gonna wear a long sleeve shirt. I'm gonna throw gum in. I'm gonna drink an energy drink before a pitch. So I did that, and I had a pretty good outing. I was like, okay, like dang, all right, that kind of worked. So then I was like, all right, maybe it's just something else. So I started cutting things out until it started to work. And I ended up, the gum ended up sticking. Like the gum was what worked. It calmed me down, and I was like, holy cow, I guess this is what works, man. So I kind
Now,
of just stuck with chewing the gum.
Do you have a specific brand or flavor that
Oh,
you
yep.
stick with?
Yep.
Good
Polar
question.
ice, extra.
Okay.
Has to be that.
Okay. Polar ice. I always, that stuff, if I drink water, I feel like Frozone. So I
Yep.
usually stay away from that stuff. All right. Tommy said hit ball hard. So he's locked in. That's all we need in his brain. Heads up 5th, 3rd this weekend.
He's hitting 2 homers this weekend.
Yeah. Kids, if you want to ball, try to get a ladder on top of 5th, 3rd arena, and you might catch one. All right. That wraps it up for you guys. I know we went over the time that I told you guys you were going to be on here. So I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day.
School's out. What else you guys got to do?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, we don't have any.
Now, last thing before you leave, what do you have to say to the fans to try to get people to pack the park this weekend? Give them a little bit of motivation, other than seeing you guys throw.
Yeah, I mean, this weekend means a lot to the whole team. I mean, got a lot riding on this, and I mean, we feed off the energy. Like I said with the show and emotion part earlier, it means a lot for fans to be there, especially that student section. I mean, that whole thing gets us going. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, we get fans out there and fill the crowd. I mean, it's a tough place to play. Sound stays in the stadium, which I think that's like the coolest part about our stadium. But it gets loud in there. And I think if we pack it out, it's going to make it a tough place to play this weekend.
It does. Whoever designed all 3 of UC stadiums did a really good job with the sound, because I feel like Nippert, baseball, and basketball, like when it's loud, it's freaking loud in there. All right. Well, again, thank you guys for coming on. Good luck tomorrow, and give them hell. Let's do this thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you, boys.
See ya.
Pitchers, man. Very well media trained guys, right? I tried to
couple
ask
of
Nate
Cincinnati's
about
finest.
Yeah, I try to ask him about like some feelings, one game at a time. Try to ask him about pitcher of the year. He's focused on bigger things. So Coach Bischel did a good job, or whoever did a pretty good job
Seriously
training those guys.
He's not going to say something dumb on the Bischel ball segment to mess up his top 5 round draft chances next year.
That's true. All right, well, let's get into breaking down this 3-game set from TCU, and then we'll talk about K-State a little bit, and we'll get out of here.
Let's do it.
Obviously, Bearcats lost the series. We're able to salvage it with a win on Sunday. Starting with game 1, one thing before we get into it, I was just it was a super competitive series. Like they said, I know the Friday game got away from us a little bit towards the end, but I mean, you talk about the first 7 innings of that game, really 8 even. And then, I mean, the other 2 were just awesome games to watch down in Fort Worth.
100%. I mean, guys never want to lose a series, but you cannot lose sight of the fact that you go out there, you're playing 3 good teams, Oral Roberts, and it's a 5-2 road trip. I mean, in no way can you be upset with 5-2 in that road trip.
Totally. All right, starting with game 1, we were able to get out to a 3-0 lead. Quentin Coates with a 2-run homer in the first. He continues to just swing a hot bat, dude. He's been super impressive. Then we were up 5-2 going into the 5th. That's when the wheels fell off for Nate a little bit. I thought he pitched a really, really good game until the 5th and 6th there, where I know we've talked about a little bit before, maybe that 3rd time through the order, they ended up getting to him there. And TCU tacked on 3 in the 5th and then 5 in the 6th to make it 10-5. And those were kind of really the 5-run inning is kind of what ended up killing us, just momentum wise at that point in the game. And just, I mean, a 5-run deficit is a lot to look at when you hit a 2-3 run homer and you're still down a few.
Yeah, I mean, not to continue with the baseball cliches, but the big inning just always kills you. And Nate has thrown great all year. This was arguably his worst outing of the year, and he still was pretty competitive around the zone and didn't really get hurt till that third time through. This is where I've mentioned it on the broadcast. I've mentioned it on here. Next year, if he can take that step and start to really trust a changeup or even a cutter, just find some sort of third pitch for that third time through the order. I mean, he is going to be a freaking primo draft pick.
Yeah, which I know he was starting to. I forget what series it was where he started mixing in that changeup a lot more. It was one of the home series a few weeks ago, but I wasn't really
It might have
paying
been that
enough.
Oklahoma State series that got banged, that got
Okay.
delayed or postponed till the next day, where he was throwing really well. That the lefty for them was shoving. I think it might have been that one. But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
his changeup's good. He just needs to trust it and start to throw it a little bit more because it's a good pitch. It really is. I'm sitting there watching the track, man. Like, it's pretty solid.
And it's like facing guys. I know me and Cole talked about this on one episode. Like when you're facing guys and you can add just one more pitch that moves in a different direction. Like just to think about
Yep.
that as a hitter makes it so much tougher opposed to knowing you're either getting a heater or a slider going in or away from you.
100%. I mean, Nate's got a plus fastball and a plus slider, obviously, but just mentally having to worry about something, going down and away because his fastball's 95 with life and it plays like 96 because he extends like 7 feet. And then
Yeah.
the slider, I mean, it just tunnels. Like the guys don't see it. You see the bad swings, especially lefties too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to have a third pitch, just even in the scouting report that guys have to think about, that just does a lot.
Yeah. Then so the Bearcats were able to fight back there in the 8th with a Tommy O'Connor homer. They made it 10-8, and then the bullpen just couldn't really hang on. Both teams kept scoring, and that made it a 17-11 final. So disappointing game in the end, but competed for 9 innings. Again, Nate threw pretty well until that 5th or 6th inning where they got to him a little bit, like you said. Arguably his worst start of the year, and still feel like he put us in a decent position to scratch a win there.
Definitely. And, he only threw 96 pitches, but you got to kind of talk about the fact that if the bullpen has been more consistent this year, he maybe doesn't have to stay in. When he starts to get into some trouble, he probably doesn't have to bleed, and he's probably not going to give up 8 earned runs if there's a guy who's the stopper. And I'm sure we'll talk about that, but no one has really stepped up as the stopper all year.
For sure. And that's where it's almost been with the staff and not knowing what you're going to get sometimes. Like we need, and him in those big 12 series, like we need him to go 6, right? Like we need
seriously
to milk every pitch out of him as possible.
Yeah.
The biggest, not surprised, but the thing I was most excited about this game is the Bearcats getting to Tommy Lepore. I mean, we talked about those two pitchers being up for Big 12 Pitcher of the Year, and Tommy's stats being a little bit better than Nate's, other than strikeouts, I think. And no one had really got to him all year. He had a few like 3-4 run outings, but that's really been it. And the Bearcats were on him early, and you could see he was getting frustrated. They were making him come in the zone, and they were on that fastball even when he was running it up to 98. So that was a good sign. I know obviously that Kansas week seemed like a big weekend to kind of get those bats rolling. And despite losing the series, I can confidently say that the lineup and those bats are still hot right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, just peaking at the right time, and on, how they got to the Friday night guy. It's like they're not afraid of good pitching. I feel like that's one thing you can say about this Bearcats team all year, even when they've had their struggles offensively. It's not because they're afraid of 95 or good sliders, because that approach is what carries them through.
Yeah. Yeah, and in that game, Jack Natilli was 4 for 5 with a double, a homer, and 4 RBIs. He continues to rake. He had another big weekend. Quentin Coates was 2 for 5 with a homer and 3 RBIs, and Tommy O'Connor's starting to heat up a little bit, was 1 for 3 with that 2-run homer. Moving into game 2, which was honestly definitely the most heartbreaking game of this road trip. I guess only 2 losses, but this one, I don't know why, it just really stung. I watched all 9 innings, and it was just one of those that hurt. We got out to another 1-0 lead with a Vitterick solo homer in the first, which I've talked about it before. I think like if we can continue to even one run, but getting out to a lead, and trying to, obviously you want to have a lead all game, but just with this team's played from behind a lot, I feel like early in the year, and I think it'll just take a little bit of pressure off of that pitching staff and the bullpen if we can find our way out to a few more leads here down the stretch.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it just set the tone early, and literally it seems like 90% of their wins this year, they were coming from behind to win. And, that's all good and well and gritty, but it's just hard to sustain all year because you just can't do that consistently, especially down the stretch of the season when you're going to run into some bullpen arms that actually are going to be a stopper. So get it up to that lead. Vitterick just hit a leadoff homer every game. Seems like he's been doing that, or every weekend at least.
Yeah. The Bearcats made it 4-1 in the second after a bases loaded walk from Carrington Cross and another RBI single from Jack Natilli that scored a couple. TCU clawed back and made it 4-3 in the fourth, and then Tommy O'Connor had another 2-run homer in the fifth to make it 6-3. TCU was able to get 1 in the fifth and then 2 in the sixth, all off homers to tie it up at 6. And then this game went quiet in the late innings until TCU finally came through with a walk-off homer in the ninth. Obviously, I think it was such a heartbreaker just because we had that 3-run lead, and then you slowly saw it trickle away, and then the game's tied for 3 whole innings, and you're just pulling your hair out, and then you give up a solo homer in the ninth to lose, which sucks.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I mean, looking at this line, you give up 5 home runs. It's kind of remarkable. You give up 5 home runs, but it's only seven runs. I mean, it's just the ball was flying out, but mostly solo shots, luckily.
Yeah, I know I talked about last week, me and Cole both said we expected these games to be much more low scoring than Kansas, and we were proved wrong. I mean, I bet the I think it was under 10.5 for Friday night game with Tommy and Nate on the mound. If you would have told me I could get under 27.5 for even odds, I'd probably have about $4 in my bank account right now. I mean,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
There were 28 runs scored in that game. The ball was definitely the wind tunnel to right was, I didn't know that was a thing, but I guess it is. It definitely was in play this weekend. I mean, anything up in the air to right field was going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good bet. I mean, you look at their home run totals coming into the weekend; it's nothing crazy. Like Kansas State hits a lot more homers than TCU, so
yeah,
keep riding those unders, JP.
Yeah. Kellen O'Connor, he actually, I mean, he didn't have a bad start. Obviously, we talked about just the homers, which. I mean, that's just kind of a buzzkill at times. And obviously if a few more of those are doubles off the wall, it's probably a different outing for him, but 6 earned runs and on 7 hits and 6 innings. I mean, at the end of the day though, like I said with Nate, he put us in a position to win the ball game and be in the game. And sometimes, I mean, every time out of a starter, that's kind of all you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, it's really all that you can ask for out of a guy like that. I mean, the stuff is good, but it's not unbelievable. He's a 6th-year guy, and he goes out really every time he's on the mound. He's even pitched out of the bullpen at Kansas. That was huge to pitch out of the bullpen and then come back and start. And he's got an ERA under 5. And, obviously most baseball fans are going to say, well, 5 ERA, that's not great. But look at ERAs across college baseball, man. I mean, they're inflated, the metal bats. It's a bunch of young pitchers against old hitters. Like a 5 ERA with 65, 70 innings, it's a very productive season. And I think he's been pretty consistent all year.
Well, that's what, I mean, the Ben or I think his name's Ben, but the Vogley kid Dominic Vogley, I think, from Kansas. He's their Friday guy, and he's got really good stuff. I think he was up there he might have been preseason Big 12 pitcher of the year. And I mean, he's sitting at a 5 ERA, but they throw him out there every Friday, and I mean, he's competed really well for them.
Yeah. Kellen O'Connor's been really good.
Yeah. Another big thing about this game, I think that was a little disappointing, is we were able to knock that starter out in the second inning, where I just that's when that happens, you want to try to score at least. I mean, you want to score more than 6, right? The rule thought like if it's a bullpen game, I mean, obviously they were probably throwing their best dudes out of the pen. It's not like they were throwing off, but I would have liked to see us be able to tack on a few more runs than 6 after knocking that dude out in the second, and I mean, getting to some of their arms on Friday as well. Yeah,
no, I mean, truly, and credit to TCU's bullpen. That's never a good feeling when you're chilling in the dugout, probably eating some Uncrustables, and your starter's about to get knocked out in the second inning, and pitching coach tells you to go get hot, and you barely got your spikes on. So credit to them for responding and having a pretty good bullpen day.
Yeah, you probably had a few of those in your day, didn't you?
Dude, the one that I'll never forget is my sophomore year. Drake Batcho's pitching. He gets a comebacker up the middle, reaches out with his freaking throwing hand, so he has to get taken out of the game in the first inning. And then I have to go literally warm up on the mound. And then I end up going like 6 innings, 1 run against Xavier. And that was the start of the rest of the year. So,
okay, I was going to ask if that was before you started, because I was going to say, hey, not only are you going in the first, but we need you to go 5 innings today. Like,
get that was ridiculous. Thanks, Batcho, for throwing 97 and trying to catch a 95-mile-an-hour comeback with your bare hand. That was nice of you, man. Really propelled my starting career that year.
But no, the Bearcats, nobody had a multi-hit game in that one. Natili had 2 RBIs. Tommy O'Connor had the 2-run homer, and then Vid had the solo homer. Moving on to game 3, where the Bearcats scratched out the win. TCU is the one who actually got out in front early in game 3 with a 1-0 lead in the first. They were able to extend the lead to 4-1 in the 4th inning. And then the Bearcats answered back in the 5th to tie it up at 4 after a Derek Pitts sac fly and a Viderick 2-run homer. I mean, Viderick and Derek Pitts is another guy. I know I probably talk a lot more about Quentin Coates than Derek Pitts on here as far as freshmen, but I mean, that kid, especially defensively, filling the center field role. I mean, and he was a guy who, when he was getting some at bats and his numbers weren't great, you can just tell that he's a big physical kid who can run with a pretty swing, and you could tell it was there. So it's been 100%. I mean, it's been awesome to see him kind of come into full form here at such a young age and get some confidence under his belt.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of the silver lining of injuries. Like, obviously, you never want guys to get hurt, but the whole next man up thing is true. And this is going to just speed up both of their developments, Quentin and Derek Pitts both. I mean, both of these guys, you saw flashes, and you're like, okay, they're freshmen. They're going to pinch hit here. They're going to get a start on a Sunday here. And then next year will be the year they take the leap. And now they're getting all this experience in games that matter. So they're going to be able to show up next year as experienced sophomores. I mean, obviously, it's about the 2025 season right now. Nobody's thinking about next year, but you got to feel pretty good building around those two. And I mean, Pitts has the conference batting average up over 300. He's been raking.
Yeah. I mean, I would bet both of those guys are hitting 300 or above 300 in conference, which playing in the Big 12 as a freshman is pretty impressive. But we gave 1 run back in the 5th, but then Tommy O'Connor responded with his 3rd 2-run homer of the weekend to make it 6-5 Bearcats. Then Pitts with a solo homer to make it 7-5. TCU tied it up at 7 in the 7th, and then the Cats were able to scratch a couple and hold on to make it 9-8. Derek Pitts had a huge RBI single there in the 8th to give us that 2-run lead going into the 9th. So good stuff. Just talked about him. Derek Pitts was 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs, and we had homers from Bitterick, Natilli, O'Connor, and Pitts. So all in all, good day at the yard. Great to salvage that series, and I mean, not get a third sweep, because I believe it or not, I do think that win on Sunday is going to do us wonders as far as RPI and at large bid.
Oh yeah. I mean, getting swept 3 times in conference,
Not a
you pretty much
recipe
have
for
to
success.
you pretty much have to sweep 3 times to make up for it. So yeah,
Right.
it's tough to come back from, but you salvaged the weekend. I mean, absolute disgusting line out of the pitchers. It's 0.1 here, it's 1.1 here, but they pieced it together. The Max Bergman burger came in at the end and 1 1/3 scoreless, which was really good to see, because he's been kind of hit or miss this year in his 5th year, but that was good to see.
I think Berg grew out a little chin piece. It looked like he had some chin noise on the mound on
Oh God.
Sunday, which was yeah, I don't know how well that fits him, but if it's gonna give him even more shit to him on the mound, I'm all here for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure if you were still in the locker room, he would never shut up about it. Johnny Ball, chin
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
Bergman,
Still
we
the-
love you, man.
Still the first thing that comes out of his mouth every time I see him. Even
Johnny Ball.
Even like 5 minutes before the game at Kansas last week, he pops his head out of the dugout. Johnny Ball.
Kid has got an absolute heart of gold.
All right, well, let's talk about K-State a little bit. Coming to Clifton this weekend, they are sitting at a 30-21 overall record. They are 16-11 in the Big 12, and their RPI is at 37, which is 2 spots behind ours at 35. And they are also 1 spot in front of us in the Big 12 rankings.
Yep.
In only 2 games. So obviously, you always want to sweep. You always want to win. But a sweep this weekend would not only just absolutely lock us in the tournament, but move us up a seed for that Big 12 tournament as well.
100%. I mean, it's a great way to end the regular season, because they are in, to your point, kind of a similar spot, 30-21, 16-11. They just took 2 of 3 from number 12 West Virginia. Like, this is a pretty good team as well. So I'm expecting a really good, hard-fought series. And when the Bearcats have 4 games left guaranteed, you would love to win 3 of those 4 guaranteed games at least. So got to get off to a good start. You really cannot afford to lose 2 Fridays or Thursday, I guess. You cannot afford to lose twice in a row with Nate on the mound. So tomorrow's going to be huge.
Yeah, I agree. And you got to feel good about the Bearcats remaining to be dominant at home with that 16-5 record at home. I'm not totally sure how K-State has played on the road. They've been kind of a weird team, man. I know early in the year they played a really tough non-conference schedule as well. I mean, they were down in Coastal for a series that the weekend at the beach or whatever, and then they were playing some pretty big programs out of conference, and I know they kind of looked really bad the first weekend. Like, the pitching was not there at all, and then they turned around 2 weeks later and had a few big wins against some really good teams. They seem like a team that has potential, and they, like you said, they are a really good team, but really just hasn't been able to put everything together consistently throughout the whole year.
Yeah, to your point, I just looked at their home versus away splits. I mean, 18-3 at home, 6-16 away. So, I mean, that's huge. And really, their hitting is the strength of their team. I mean, all of their starters, they throw a good amount of innings, but I mean, they all have got 5-6 ERAs. So it's not like they've got a Nate Taylor out there who's got a 3 ERA, but they've hit 90 homers to UC's 65. So their offense is pretty nasty 1 through 9, especially those top, 4. They all got 12, 14, 16 bombs. Like they can hit. It's a good team.
Yeah, let's hear some of your notes. Actually, want to give you the freedom to go in depth a little bit here. I know I'm lacking a little bit on my K-State research this week, but I know you got a few notes to prepare yourself for the booth this weekend. So let's hear about maybe some of their better arms and better dudes in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 2 guys at the top of their kind of stat sheet hitter wise. Keegan O'Connor and Max Martin, both hitting over 330, 16 homers and 14 homers. They both, get it. They take their walks. They've got 400 on base percentages. So these are two absolute dudes. And then, you look down the lineup, you got Seth Carter, 11 homers. You got Kennedy, 11 homers. So they're going to, definitely take tough at bats. I'm really, really interested to see their Friday guy, Jacob Frost, lefty, 90-94, which as I was watching video of him, I almost wrote down lefty 90-94, nothing special, which is just ridiculous, like how crazy the college baseball game has gotten, because a lefty 90-94 used to mean something, but now it's just another guy. But he throws a lot of fastballs. He's got a good tight slider. His stuff actually kind of like a lefty version of Nate Taylor. It's fastballs up, and then it's a tight, hard slider. So they're kind of just the mirror of each other. That should be a good matchup. I didn't really think about that until just now. But, I mean, he's got a 4.9 ERA. It's not like he's had a crazy year. And he does walk guys, 31 walks in 56 innings, which for a Friday night guy, that's kind of a lot of walks. So
yeah, for sure. He was
especially at home against this Bearcats team who, seriously, series after series, Mazzini and I joke about it in the booth every week. We're like, okay, here's a high leverage arm who's got 25 innings and 3 walks, and then he comes in and shits down his leg and walks 3 guys and hits a guy. It's like, I don't know what is in the air at UC Baseball Stadium, but it just seems like pitchers can't throw it over.
Yeah, other than that that Bodendorf start, we may have caught some luck with that one getting banged, even though Nate was rolling too, but his stuff looked good, and nobody was putting balls in play for those first 3 innings.
He was so gross. Yeah.
But you talking about Kansas State playing the long ball, that was something that I know I touched on, and I was a little concerned about when we went out to Kansas, because they're very similar, where they don't steal and they really just try to slug. And we were able to keep. Now that I think the difference may be that Kansas really had like 1 or 2 guys that were really leading the way as far as RBIs and homers, where it feels like K-State may be a little bit spread out. But I mean, the Bearcats were able to keep both of those guys under wraps and kind of shut down that Kansas offense all weekend.
Yeah,
another thing is
really impressive.
The ball absolutely flies at Kansas. And I know when the Bearcats were there last year, the ball was flying a little bit. I know that's when Guidry had like 2 or 3 home runs in a game.
Yeah.
I'm curious if the stats are not padded, but maybe a reflection of how well the ball carries out there in Manhattan as well.
Yeah, that definitely could be a factor. I mean, you're right. If the ball flies, see, I'm going to show my lacking geographic knowledge, but Kansas can't be that far away from Kansas State, right? So you think the ball's going to fly?
Yeah, driving there, you're going through a lot of cornfields, a lot of flat ground, a lot of wind. Right?
Yeah, I heard you saying that.
That wind.
I heard you talking about your drive back, how you were watching the game on ESPN Plus. I mean, watching a sporting event on ESPN Plus through Kansas is probably safer than driving undistracted in downtown Cincinnati.
Literally, it was. I was fully comfortable
That's too
with
funny.
cruise control on the highway. I had to watch something, or else I felt like I was going to go nuts staring at a blue sky and cornfields for 8 hours.
Yeah, that's brutal.
But that's about all I have, unless you have anything to add before we wrap it up here about Kansas State or the Bearcats or anybody, really.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, like I said, pretty good pitcher on the mound, but he walks a lot of guys. So my prediction tomorrow is that the Bearcats are going to take their walks and get Jacob Frost out of the game before he gets into the 5th inning. That's my guess. We'll see what happens. They have a couple really good pen arms, Adam Arthur and James Guyette. I might be pronouncing that wrong. And then they got a couple other dudes, but those 2 are high leverage, so wouldn't be surprised to see them tomorrow. And really the offense top to bottom is pretty good. So I think it should be a good series. I'm pretty stoked for it. But
last question.
Bearcats got it all in front of them.
Yeah. Last question for you. What do you think the Bearcats have to do to lock in an at-large bid? We got 4 games guaranteed remaining. what do you think's going to for sure lock them in?
I think just go win 3 of 4. Don't mess around and win 2 and like leave it up to chance. I think they'd have a good chance with 2. I've been, noodling around looking at the kind of mock predictions on Twitter, but it's like just win 3 of 4 and don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think I want to say if they win this series, I'm comfortable, a little bit more
Yeah.
comfortable. Obviously, if they lose a series and they win 2 in the tournament, I think they're still in. I think we got to win probably 3
True.
more games to be like a lock. But obviously, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think we need 3 more wins to be like, okay, there's no way they don't put us in. Because you got to think too, like, I don't know if UC's ever gotten that large bid. So I know, like, since they've changed the tournament style, we've never gotten an at-large bid. So, and you got to think, like, you've seen it happen with some of these teams from the committee getting some nods in those last few teams in. Like, not that we're going to be up against like a Florida or like, but you've seen that happen before where some of the bigger name programs and just with more baseball history kind of get that nod towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're crazy to say that doesn't have a factor. And also, I think sometimes if 2 teams have pretty similar resumes, but let's say UC, goes 1-2 the final weekend, and let's say Kansas State, they're looking at them the same way and they go 2-1, they're probably going to give it to the team that was hotter at the end of the year. So I think UC's got to take care of business. You got to take 2 of 3 at home, and then you go down to the single elimination Big 12 tournament, and hopefully it doesn't matter a ton, but you'd still like to win, the first game down there.
Yeah. All right. End of story. Bearcats got to take care of business tomorrow and this weekend. So Bearcat fans, we need you guys to show out at the park. The students are out of town, so we really need you Cincinnati folk to show out and pack the stands a little bit and make this a tough weekend on the Wildcats. But that wraps up this week's episode, and make sure to follow and subscribe to the Road to Omaha podcast on all social media. And this will be posted on my accounts as well as Bearcat Journal. And Zach, thanks for coming on and doing this with us. It was a great time and love having you on here.
Thanks for having me, man. Go Cats. Let's see you out there at the park tomorrow.
Yeah. Give them hell in the booth tomorrow.
Always.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next week.